Being a black belt, I've always wondered if I got in a fight, would my skills actually be able to help me? Is karate practical enough in real life and the chaos that real life brings? When I was 11 or 12, I started training in Isshin-ryū Karate. It was great. It was so much fun learning kata. Kata is a sequence of fighting moves all organized for you. So it's basically an organized fight that you do and perform as if imaginary attackers are fighting you. And it's cool. It looks impressive. You see people performing moves, knowing what they're doing, and it looks like Karate Kid. Kata was one of my favorite parts about karate. I also practice sparring. That's where you go in a ring, toe to toe with an opponent, and you guys do karate moves in hopes of getting a point on someone. And a point is when you land a punch, a kick. A kick can be 2 points if it's to the head. I also learned a handful of weapons. I learned how to use bow, sai, and briefly tonfa. I barely count that because I started learning tonfa in brown belt, so I was still a newbie by the time I got black. You learn the basic combinations of kicks, punches, and blocks, and you also learn the bunkai. And the bunkai is the meaning of the moves in your kata. So you'll learn kata, which is a sequence of karate moves imagined from what a fight could look like, and the bunkai is that imagined fight explained. Would all of those teachings, everything that I practiced for 6, 7, 8 years, because I stopped at 18, would all of that practice really benefit me? I'm not sure. I've never been in a real life fight, and fights aren't controlled like they are in the dojo. Fights don't wait for you to be ready. They don't wait for you to bow or stop when you land a punch. Real fights, in my head, they're messy. They're chaotic. You're at a bar and you are next to someone and they're getting upset because their partner or their friend is making them upset, and they turn around at you and they start picking a fight with you, and before you know it, they're smashing a bottle on your head, and all of a sudden you're in this chaotic fight. Or someone across the street calls you small and you're like, what'd you say? And it's like, you're small, and then all of a sudden he's throwing punches. I don't know how people get in fights nowadays. Do you look at someone wrong? I'm not sure. But real fights, in my head, are not let's respect each other and whoever lands the first point will back off. No, real fights are like who can break someone's nose first. And in that situation, I'm not 100% sure if my karate and that organized sequence of moves is really going to help me out. I don't know if in an adrenaline induced spot I'm going to be able to pick apart, okay, this guy's throwing a 45-degree reverse punch, let me uppercut and block. I don't know. I don't personally think it would help a ton. I don't have the confidence in myself that it would help a ton, but it's hard for me to believe that 6, 7, 8 years of training would do nothing, right? I truly believe I don't have the best tools in my arsenal for a wild fight, but I do have the foundation to be a good defender. Maybe I just need more IRL practice. Not all of my time I feel was wasted though, because I do feel like I have good self-discipline, good body control, good body awareness, enough to the point where I'd be able to ward off an untrained fighter. Let's face it, if you have no practice in jiu-jitsu, karate, any sort of martial arts, do you even know how to throw a punch? Do you know what's going to hurt yourself? Do you know the best way to approach someone? Fighting is an art if done correctly. You can really botch it or you can really kind of mess someone up. I believe that if I'm going up against someone who's basically my size, they don't have like 100 pounds, 6 inches on me. They don't have a huge size advantage. I think I'd be able to hold my own. Granted, that's skewing things in my favor. I don't know. But if I faced an opponent who's roughly about my size, I feel confident that I'd be able to take them down because of what I have trained in. I know what would be effective. I have the reflexes. I feel like I'm more in tune with my body and be able to just pick them apart a bit easier than what they would be able to do for me. But I also don't want to sound too cocky because I really don't think I'd be able to defend myself against someone who is training right now or trained in a different art. I kind of believe karate wouldn't be the best self-defense art to learn. I was over at a little get-together maybe a few months ago, and there was this one jiu-jitsu student. He wanted to roll around and fight, kind of. Like, their way of fighting is not sparring. Their way of fighting is, like, rolling. I was really nervous. This guy was, like, 6'3", 6'4". He literally had 100 pounds on me and huge height advantage, and I was like, I really don't want to do this. Even though I'm a black belt, I really don't think I'd be able to beat this guy. It's in his arena. I was nervous. I did not feel good about myself. But I went in. He went so easy on me. We were just flowing. But he had so much control over my body. I felt so out of control. It felt terrible, and I don't want to be in that position. I feel like karate might not be the best way to learn self-defense if you really, really want to be able to defend yourself in a raw situation like that. I think jiu-jitsu might do a little bit better. With that being said, the style of training I did choose to learn, which is Isshin-ryū, kind of limits my experience. If I'm swept off my feet, I know nothing. If my attacker has a weapon I don't have practice with, I can't fall back on anything to really help me. Truthfully, I don't even have much practice under any circumstances that boost my adrenaline. They didn't throw me into an arena or a ring with someone who was like, just fight. They always had like, all right, first person to land a punch or kick wins, and you blade yourself and you start glide stepping everywhere, and it's very controlled, very organized, and it's fun. It's very cool. I had a great time, but it doesn't really track well to real life. Becoming a black belt, in my opinion, is a symbol of willingness to learn. I may not be equipped for every fight, but I took the time to learn the basics that could help me in nearly every fight. The real self-defense practice comes with time after being a black belt and knowing all of the fundamentals. That's truly what I believe, because I became a black belt, and in Isshin-ryū Karate there are different degrees of black belt. When you become first degree black belt, you know all of the basic, you know all of the kata, you know everything in that style of karate, but then you just enhance it when you go from first degree to second, to third, to fourth. You might learn a couple more weapons katas, but you really are just honing in, learning more bunkai, learning more of the meanings, learning more actual defense of yourself. A black belt first degree is just showing that you have learned the ability to defend yourself, but not the practicality of defending yourself. I'll never regret choosing karate. I learned the stick-to-itness principle. It is carried with me through my life to date. It's what's got me through marathons. It's what's got me through ultra marathons. It taught me attention to detail. In karate, they nitpick every little stance, every little angle, and be like, you have to do this, this, and that. And it made me very detail-oriented, and that's so helpful and so nice. It taught me a healthy lifestyle. You would literally say a student creed before every single class. And one of them was like, it talked about not doing anything to limit your mental or physical health. And it was words that I lived by for a long time. I kind of fell off the rocker when I turned like 18, 19. But then I got back on it. For the most part, it instilled healthy lifestyle habits. And it taught me the importance of being prompt. If you were late to karate, it was not a fun day. You were taught to respect time and other people's time. I just think karate was a great way to learn basic discipline and a great way to build my confidence so that I do feel more confident in myself on a day-to-day basis. When we go out into the wild, 99% of the time, if not 99.99% of the time, we're not going to get in a fight. We don't need karate. But it is so good and such a ego boost to have karate in your arsenal. I don't regret learning it for 6 years, for 7 years, however long it was. It was so fun. And I miss it. I really do. And I would highly encourage anyone to take some sort of self-defense. If you're really looking for practical self-defense, I'd look elsewhere from karate, because karate just doesn't really feel like it's the most practical. But if you're looking for a discipline, how to feel more confidence in yourself, how to build good character, karate is definitely the way to go.